everyone, today we will study about our changing earth. So our earth is changing from day to day, from time to time, from moment to moment. So we are going to study about that today. Now the lithosphere, under the lithosphere you find a number of plates. And what are they called? They are called lithosphere plates. Okay, so what are these plates? You will think that they are the plates that we use to have our food. No, they are not that. They are like that. Okay, like if your plate does not have any boundaries, they are like that. Discs, discs type thing. Okay, they are like that. Next, the movement of these plates cause changes on the surface of the earth. So these plates are moving continuously. These plates are moving. Think of these two plates, plate 1, plate 2. These are continuously moving and causing, they are continuously in motion and they change the surface of the earth. The forces that act in the interior of the earth are called endogenic forces. The forces that work on the surface of the earth are called exogenous forces. So the forces which are applied from the interior of the earth, they are endogenic, and the ones which are from out of the earth, they are exogenic. So you have already learned in the previous chapter that these endogenic and exogenic forces, you have learnt about them. Okay, you have not studied the terms, but you know that forces work from interior also, from exterior also. So what are they called? Only the terms I am going to describe you. Certain moments of like volcanoes, earthquakes cause destruction over the surface of the earth. Now these tectonic plate movements are also responsible for this volcanoes and earthquakes, which cause massive destruction on the earth's surface. Now next one which we learn is a volcano is a vent in the earth's crust through which molten metal air erupts suddenly. So now what is this volcano? It's a vent. And a mountain, suppose you have a mountain over here. Wait, let me show you. And here the mouth of the mountain is open. And from there lavas and etc. eject. That's known as a volcano. Okay? The vibration in the plates of the earth are called earthquakes. So the plates of the earth are moving. Suppose, okay, plate 1 and plate 2. Again, we come to plate 1 and plate 2. These are in motion. Okay. Suppose they collide each other like I have shown you in the video. Then what will happen? Yes, earthquake will happen. You're right, earthquakes will happen. Vibration will be caused immensely and earthquake will start. Okay? The plate is the place in the crust where the movement start is called the focus. Like it's not in the earth's surface, it's under the earth. I told you, no? Plates, they will collide obviously under the earth, and where this movement of this vibration will start, that's known as the focus. The place right above the focus is known as the epicenter. Think about the earth's surface. For a moment, think about the earth's surface. Let me draw a line for you all. Here you see the earth's surface, the mantle. Okay, and right above you see a crust. And next, what you see? You see the epicenter. Like if you have the focus over here, so we'll make it clear for you. If you have the focus over here, you'll find the epicenter over here. Did you understand now? If you have the focus over there, okay, wait. You'll find the epicenter right above it. Got it? Now, although earthquakes can be predicted, the impact can certainly will be minimized. So the earthquakes can be predicted and impact also certainly can be minimized. People are moved from the place where there will be an earthquake, okay? So therefore they can be minimized, okay, but not completely, not completely ignored. Now major landforms. Landforms are formed by two forces. What are they? Weathering and erosion. You can see over here. Weathering is the breaking down of the rocks on the earth's surface. Erosion is the wearing away of landscape by the agents of water, wind, etc. Suppose a rock breaks, that's due to weathering. And suppose suppose the soil which you are seeing near the rivers, that's eroded. No, how will it? Okay, that moves away. Okay, that's known as erosion. Now, what is the work of a river? We'll learn the work of many things. Okay, when a river tumbles at a steep angle over the hard rocks or down the steep valley side, it forms a waterfall. So you know already, hill or valley, steep valley, you know how they are formed. I'll show you also with the help of a line. Here you see a hill and anything, we draw perpendicular, and here. Okay, so now what you do? Now let's release water over there. So here you know water is coming till here, and you know, can water travel through here? Huh? Can water ever do that? Like they are floating on the sky? No, never. What will water do? Obviously it will fall like this. That forms a waterfall. Understood now? As the river enters the plains. Okay? Now plain means what? Like this. Okay? Now how will water travel? Like this. Okay? It forms twists and turns and form large beds known as meanders. Okay? At this point of time, the meander cuts loop through the rivers and forms a cutoff called the Oxbow Lake. Okay, so now water cannot flow like this. I repeat once and again. Water. This is just a schematic diagram. I'm not showing the rule of nature. Now, what is the rule of nature? Let's see. Okay, plains lands is like. Okay, sorry. I'm showing you the wrong color. Yeah, you're sure. The plains lands are like this. Yes, that's true. But how does the river cut through? Let's see it. River does not cut through like this. River is always like this. It's always like this. So when the river is like this, you know, these parts where the river is going in, these are known as meanders. Okay, and suppose one summer there is no rainfall at all. What this will get? This will cut off. This thing will cut off. It will form Oxbow Lake. Okay. Now, if they cut off the river, then it will be known as. You can see what is written over here. Oxbow Lake. During flood, the river deposits fine other materials called sediments along the banks. This leads to the formation of fertile plain called floodplains. Floodplains are very, very fertile. Okay. When there is excess raining, okay, and then the river water gets up to the plains. Okay, the river water will gets up to the plain. Okay, and here you will find that there is a very fertile soil is deposited. Why? Because the river water carries the fertile soil with them. Okay, and therefore floodplain will be formed. The raised banks along a river is called levees. So the raised banks. Okay, river banks are not like this as always, because we are raising many buildings. Their height is also rising. So this river bank is known as. Those who live near the river, they will understand more better, but those who don't live, then I'm trying for all of you to understand. See if you can. Here you will see the banks of the river are like this. If you ever go to visit a river, then you can see more. Right, you will see that the banks are like this, and below the river is flowing. So these flood banks are called levees. The collection of sediment from the mouths form a delta. So you will see the delta is very fertile. Delta is where sea, river, okay, from river to sea where it's going, this landform. Okay, this landform is known as a delta. Very, very fertile. All the silts are collected over here. No silt will go to the sea. Once more I repeat, no silt will go to the sea. All the silts, leftover silts, will be collected over here. Work of the sea waves. The erosion and deposition of sea waves gives rise to the coastal landforms. Okay, now due to sea waves, hollow-like caves are formed on rocks. They are called sea caves. Now, suppose you find a sea over here. Here is a sea. Here is a land. You see, caves are right over here. Okay, the sea waves, they will go like this. They will go like this, and they will form erosion. And suppose a rock is over here. And next what will happen? They will form this hollow land and they are known as sea caves. As the cavities become bigger in size, only the roof of the cave remains. And thus it will become sea arches. Only the roof of the cave, because water is continually eroding, no? That why only the cave will remain and it's known as sea arches. The erosion further breaks and only the walls are left. Now the erosion is breaking everything. It's even breaking the roof also. But I'll show you. It's breaking the roof also. The erosion is breaking the roof also. Only the walls are left. Now they are known as sea stacks. Okay. Only these walls are there. So they are known as sea stacks. Okay, now the steepy rocky coast rising almost vertically above the sea is called sea cliff. Now this rocky coast which is rising above the sea is known as the sea cliff. Okay, next. Work of ice. What does ice do? Glaciers are rivers of ice. Okay, which erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones to expose the solid rocks below. So you see, the glaciers when they flow through the river, through the hill, like this, the glaciers, here they come, here they come, here they come. Okay, and all the soil are being carried away. So therefore they are one agent. And the materials carried by the glaciers, such as big or small rocks, sand and silt, get deposited. They form glacial moraines. Now they get deposited in the rivers and form glacial, and the ones which deposited on land, they form glacial moraines. Work of winds, an active agent of erosion and deposition in deserts, is wind. Neither water is there, nor sea wave is there, nor ice is there. In hot desert, only wind, therefore, is there. It makes rocks in the shape of the mushroom. These are called mushroom rocks. What do they make? These winds, they make the shape of the rocks as mushroom, and they are known as mushroom rocks. When the wind stops blowing, the sand falls. So suppose here you see a vast desert is there, okay? Winds are blowing, okay, and they are carrying away the sand. Sand are very light particles and depositing it over here when the wind stops. Now this area rises and this is known as the sand dunes. Okay. Now when the grains of sand are very fine and light, the wind can carry it over long distances. Such sand deposited in large areas are called loess. You see the Thar desert. Okay, Thar desert is only this much, and here are what? Here are all those I'm telling you the name of the cities. I don't know you can understand or not. Ajmer and all other cities, Udaipur, etc. You will see Haldi Ghati. Haldi Ghati is a very good example. Yeah, I don't know whether you went or not over there. So Haldi Ghati, you will see there this whole sand. Why? It's not desert. It's a loess, type of example of the loess. It's found in Thar desert also. Very well, it's found in Thar desert also. So in Haldi Ghati, what we will see, the whole thing, it's known as Haldi Ghati. That's why only, because all the things over here is colored yellow. Why? Because it's loess are formed over here. Okay. So Haldi Ghati is not Thar desert. Okay. Because Thar desert is far more away from there. But this sand deposited in large areas called loess. So Haldi Ghati is the best example for this. You'll find it near Udaipur. Okay. Okay, so this was the video. If you have any doubts, then do comment. Bye.